You're listening to the Fort Erie Podcast, your local source for upcoming events, hot new listings, and bite-sized interviews with business and community leaders. Here's your host, Brent Jones.
Hey there, Fort Erie. It's time for another episode of the Fort Erie Podcast. It is Tuesday, April 7th, 2020, and you're listening to Season 2, Episode 7. Thanks for joining me. I'm your host, Brent Jones, and today my very special guest is going to be Pat Inneo of the Ridge Film House in downtown Ridgeway. But first, a quick reminder, Fort Erie, have you donated to Meals on Wheels? Hey, no pressure, but Meals on Wheels plays an important role all the time, but especially right now with vulnerable seniors unable to leave their homes. So when you make an online donation to Fort Erie Meals on Wheels, I will give you a free Fort Erie Podcast t-shirt. In fact, I announced this last week. 6 or 7 of you have already donated and by now got your t-shirts in your mailboxes. To take advantage of this offer, check out the show notes below this episode. Click the link where it says win a free t-shirt and just follow the instructions on the screen. Now, how about a bit of recognition for some of our local health heroes? Those of you who follow me on social media know that I've been recognizing some of our frontline healthcare workers here in our community. So here in no particular order, I'd like to give a shout out to Christine Moon, a local registered nurse nominated by quite a few of her peers on Facebook. Alicia Geringer, a PSW, I hope I said that right, by the way, a PSW with Crescent Park Lodge, Rita Skelton, another member of the team over at Crescent Park Lodge, Laura Topazzini, a nurse with Douglas Memorial Hospital, and just as a reminder, folks, there are photos of all of these individuals in the show notes. Please take a look, see if you recognize a few faces. Laura, I guess, is into boxing or just kicking butt or something. I don't know. She's got her dukes up ready to fight COVID-19 head on in her photo. But I also want to mention Patricia, what am I saying? Patricia Saucier. I'm so sorry if I got that wrong. A Fort Erie nurse working in Buffalo hospitals. And last but certainly not least, Dr. Mitchell, who many of you know from his walk-in clinic on Garrison. Dr. Mitchell was quite the fan favorite. He racked up well over 100 likes and dozens of comments on Facebook, all positive, people talking about how much they love Dr. Mitchell. So I'd like to continue this segment for as long as the pandemic continues. So hopefully for not long, but you know how it goes. So please, if you know a local healthcare professional who deserves some extra recognition right now, just head on over to the FortEriePodcast.com and click contact at the top of the page. Let me know who you'd like to nominate. Okay, just one news headline that I really want to cover this week, really because I think it's the only one that matters. Fort Erie, along with other municipalities in Niagara region, have collectively declared a state of emergency. Mayor Wayne Redekop has a very simple message to Fort Erie residents, and it's this: unless you have to go out, don't. You can get more information on this story by checking out the show notes below this episode. And let's see what's going on in the Fort Erie Questions and Answers Facebook group. Kathleen asks, where can I get live crickets? My bearded dragon needs to eat. The most popular 2 answers are Minor Bros in Stevensville, as well as, and again, I'm going to mispronounce this, Ruffins or Roofins, the new pet store in Fort Erie. You guys know the place I'm talking about. Madonna asks, Goodwill and Salvation Army are no longer accepting donations at this time. Does anyone know of other places where I can drop off donations? The most popular answer was to save all those donations for a future date. But a few Fort Erie residents did chime in and mention that Crystal Ridge Community Church is accepting donations, but by appointment only. So if you have things you'd like to donate to people in need, you can look up Crystal Ridge Community Church online. All right, that just about does it for what's happening in our community. Now on to my interview with Pat Inneo. And welcome back. I am sitting here with Pat Inneo at the Ridge Film House. Pat, welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
Well, thank you for being my guest. I appreciate that. And let me start by asking you the same question I ask all my guests, which is what makes Fort Erie such a great place to live and work? And of course, I'm including Ridgeway and Fort Erie as well.
Yeah, I just think the kind of unique, kind of small town feel to it. It has in Ridgeway and Fort Erie, just the location close to the border and just the amount of land and just the kind of quaintness of the towns in the area are great.
Well, I would say, and we were talking a little bit before we started the interview portion, you're not originally from this area. You moved here, I think you said 6 years ago?
Yeah. Just came from Niagara Falls, born and raised in Welland, but lived in the Falls for about 20 years. Just moved here 6 years ago and we're loving it.
And so tell me about the Ridge Film House. I mean, you're the owner here. How long has this been in operation? And was this always something you wanted to do?
Well, just a little over 2 years now we opened. It was December 2017.
Okay.
When we had moved to the area, the theater was open and we kind of lived not too far from here. We walked up here, my wife and I, family would walk up. We'd have kind of date nights, family nights, restaurants on the street, and we just kind of really loved the place. But as almost everyone knows, there was kind of a flooding issue in the building, and it kind of closed for 4 years.
Right.
And the old owner kind of moved on.
Okay.
So it just kind of stood vacant for 4 years, and I'd always walk by with my dog at night and kind of have a peek and see if anything was going on, and it wasn't. So I think it's a great location. I think it's a business that's very unique. So I thought I can give it a shot here. I did some research for about a year. And
so this was almost like a right place, right time thing. This wasn't something you always kind of dreamed of. No. But would you call yourself a movie buff? Like, are you always?
Always loved movies for sure.
Yeah. Do you think you could beat me in movie trivia?
It'd be tight.
I'm actually terrible. I'm just kidding. What's the difference? And this may be an obvious question to people who are familiar with the Ridge Film House, but for people who aren't, what if we were to describe the differences between, say, this location and a Cineplex? I mean, why would somebody say choose to come here versus going to a Cineplex?
Well, firstly, it's right in the main street of Ridgeway. It's a quaint little building, 2 screens, 40 seats, 40 comfy seats in each theater. So again, it's just a smaller feel and a quaint feel. More unique films as well, film festivals, foreign classics. So we have a wide range of different kind of movies.
Right. Well, how about concessions? I mean, I see the concession stand over here, so moviegoers can come in. They can get some popcorn. That's important, right?
For sure.
What else can you tell me about the concessions?
Just regular concessions with chips, candy, chocolate, popcorn, like you said. We're licensed as well.
Oh, nice.
So beer and wine, and people are definitely enjoying that. Sitting down, watching a movie with popcorn, beer, wine, the regular pops and water. So
absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk more about the film house here, of course, but I do want to jump into the rapid fire question round, which is something fun I like to do with my guests so listeners can get to know you a little bit better, kind of some fun trivia questions about you. I'll rattle them off. First answer that pops into your head, just blurt it out, all right? Okay, here we go. All right, is it better to ask for permission or beg for forgiveness?
Beg for forgiveness.
I agree. If the toilet paper is really low but not completely out, do you replace it or do you leave it for someone else?
For sure, replace it.
You replace? Okay. What is your favorite carnival food of all time?
Name cotton candy.
Cotton candy? Okay.
Melts in your mouth.
Absolutely. Name a word that starts with the letter Q.
Quit.
Okay. Would you prefer, if you had to choose, would you climb a mountain or jump out of a plane?
Ooh. Climb a mountain for sure.
Okay.
Try to anyway.
If you were really hungry, would you eat a bug?
No.
I'd wait. You'd wait for something better? Did you ever go to a sleepaway camp like as a kid?
No.
No?
I don't believe so.
No camps? Okay. How long do you think you could hold your breath for?
30, 40 seconds.
Okay, that's pretty good. Have you ever seen a kangaroo in real life?
No.
No? Okay. That's it. That's the rapid fire question round.
Awesome.
So a whole list of silly little questions here. So, all right. Well, let's get back to talking about the theater. So the Ridge Film House. I mean, who is this for? Do you find that a lot of your clients is it families coming in? Is it other movie buffs in the area? Who really comes out?
Yeah, I think we're seeing people from the whole region. Really, we're seeing everybody from families to a lot of the new people that have kind of moved into the area from Toronto, enjoy the place. A lot of Ridgewayans, it's easy for enough, especially in the winter, it's our busiest time, just to kind of drive up the road or have a walk up the road, and we're right here in town. So
Do you, are the hours fairly consistent here in terms of when people can come in?
Yeah, we're both 5 nights a week.
Okay.
We've just started doing matinees Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Nice.
We've heard from a lot of our customers they really don't like driving at night at times.
Sure.
So to be able to offer that is something people are enjoying.
Well, of course, I'll include links below the episode in the show notes for everyone listening, to check out show times and more of what's going on here at the Ridge Film House. Speaking about downtown Ridgeway kind of as a whole, it feels almost like a very close-knit community down here, right? With a lot of, I feel like the businesses downtown do a great job of supporting each other. Is that a fair statement?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. We've kind of held separate events together and just a good group of people.
I'd say so.
For sure.
Yeah. Are there any small businesses downtown Ridgeway that you'd like to give a shout out to, or somebody you think is doing an especially good job representing your community?
Yeah, I've worked with the 335 restaurant, the Lonely Guy Boutique, Three Ferrises. Again, it's just a real good group of Papa's Pizza.
The list goes on and on, eh?
For sure.
Okay. Well, lastly, let me just ask this. What are some of your, being newer, we'll say, to the area here, what are some of your favorite events that happen in Ridgeway every year?
Oh, for sure, the Spirit of Christmas. Every early December.
Right.
The Ridgeway Days in the summer.
Right. It's always a lot going on, and I feel like the businesses get really tied in, right?
Yeah,
so, thank you so much for being my guest, Pat. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Welcome back, Fort Erie. Of course, it breaks my heart to have such a great chat with Pat, who unfortunately has to remain closed right now to contain the spread of COVID-19. Nonetheless, please remember that this will all be over one day soon. How soon? Nobody knows. But sooner, I think, than later. We'll find out. Time will tell. Anyway, when that day comes, I sincerely hope you'll venture to downtown Ridgeway and catch a film at the Ridge Film House. Now, let me ask Fort Erie, have you ever wondered which is the best option to get a mortgage, going through a traditional bank or a mortgage broker? Here to answer that question is Ray Rosatani from RE/MAX Niagara Realty.
Is working with a mortgage broker always the best option for financing? That one is kind of a tough one. I think if you have really good credit, I don't think the requirement to go to a B lender or a mortgage broker is always the best option. Sometimes mortgage brokers have fees associated with the particular lenders that you're dealing with. So if you have good credit and you can go to a number of the bigger financial institutions, they'll usually give you the best rate. The one benefit with a mortgage broker is they can offer you a number of different products. So when you're dealing with a mortgage broker, you're not just walking into a TD Bank and TD Bank can only sell you TD Bank products. With a mortgage broker, they have mortgage insurance companies, they have private lenders, they have a lot of options, but there's some fees associated with it sometimes.
And one more time, welcome back. Of course, for several weeks now, I have not been covering upcoming community events because, well, probably for obvious reasons at this point, there are none. I've also stopped talking about hot new listings because, well, just to be frank, I don't think it's wise right now to promote buying or selling a home unless it's absolutely necessary. To be clear, however, all that being said, I am still available to serve clients, past, present, and future. If you want to talk about your real estate plans or you want market advice or to collect some thoughts in terms of how to proceed, I'm here to help. I mean, realtors are considered an essential service right now, and depending upon your situation, I may be able to help you find a solution. So if you'd like to talk, never be shy. Call or text me directly at 905-626-8826. And you can also find links in the show notes below this episode to connect with me online. Now, next Tuesday morning, I'll be joined by Bobby Singh of the Garrison Club on Garrison Road. Bobby's a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to that conversation. In the meantime, dear listener, so long, stay safe, stay healthy, and look after each other. All right, take care.
You've been listening to the Fort Erie Podcast with your host, Brent Jones, a sales representative with RE/MAX Niagara Realty Limited Brokerage. Follow @BuyWithBrent on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for updates. Subscribe to the Fort Erie Podcast on popular platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and catch a new bite-sized episode every week. Until next time.